Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2023 Black Student Success Week Cash for College Workshop. My name is Gina Brown. I am the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Equitable Student Learning, Experience, and Impact at the California Community Chancellor's Office. Today is all about financial aid, but it's also about helping Black and African American students, and others, of course, get started on the right path with information you can use, and we hope help you complete your college education. And it can help you with financial aid. Okay? In the first part of tonight's workshop, we hope to answer questions that we hear all the time from students and their families about financial aid, the challenges students face once enrolled in college, and whether investing the time it takes in a college education is worth it. Is it worth the time and money it takes to graduate? Tonight, we'll also hear from student Jared Barnes, who has been where you are and is living proof that you can get the financial aid you need and graduate from college without owing any debt. We will also hear from Adrian Slade, as he will be talking about financial literacy and how to complete the FAFSA and California DREAM Act applications. He'll help us understand what it takes and what to expect when completing those applications. Also, Adrian will be sharing some valuable resources that can help kickstart your college experience in a very positive way. Financial aid experts from the California Student Aid Commission are here to answer your questions throughout the workshop. If you have questions, please place it in the Q&A and we will make sure to get your answers, the answers for you. Remember, do not use the chat, use the Q&A function. Definitely, if you have financial aid questions, put them there. But if you have general questions about the California community colleges, you're welcome to put that in as well. Tonight, what is special though, we have some very special giveaways. Students, if you stay with us until the end of our entire workshop, you'll be able to enter the chance to win one of a $100 gift card or a grand prize totaled at $2,000. But to win, you must be present at the end of the event when prize winners are announced and be ready to come on camera if you can. So students, get ready to enter the drawing to win. You can use your phone or your tablet to kick the QR code on the screen, or you can follow the link in the chat to enter the quiz. Well, to enter the drawing. The drawing is for students only, unfortunately. Whether you're in high school, college, or entering college, you are eligible to enter. Students, to enter, please fill out the brief form and you will be entered to win a prize. But again, you have to be present at the end of the program to win. So let's kind of get started on a few things, and we'll give you a couple reminders throughout, and we'll show that QR code throughout the night so that you can enter to win that prize. But before we really get into the meat of things, I'd like to share some things about the California community colleges. Did you know that we are the largest system of higher education in the nation? We educate about 1.8 million students every year across our 116 campuses. We have campuses in almost every part of the state, so there is a local community college near you, most likely. Our colleges exist for one reason: to help students succeed, help students realize their educational dreams, help students with their career mobility, help students get a job that pays well. So some of the top benefits of enrolling out of community college, so many things, right? We have the associate's degree for transfer, and that offers a guaranteed safe spot at participating four-year universities. Then that's going to be all of the California State University campuses. And then that also includes some participating HBCUs, or historically Black colleges and universities. You can also transfer to a UC campus to complete your bachelor's degree. The tuition at community college is significantly less than four-year universities, so you can save money while getting started on your bachelor's degree. And most importantly, and why we're here tonight, financial aid is available to help. But the one thing I need you to remember through all the information you hear tonight is that you have to apply for financial aid. Even if you don't think you're eligible, even if you think the application is too hard, you have to apply. And there is so much help. You can get help directly from your high school if you're still in high school. You can get help directly from any community college financial aid office. You can go to financial aid workshops such as this we're having tonight. There are lots of in-person financial aid workshops as well. You can find a list of those at the icangotocollege.com website. And for those of you who are attending college this fall coming up, it is not too late to apply for financial aid. So if you're enrolling in a community college this fall, the deadline to complete the application is September 2nd. So if you think you're going, and if you're going to college this fall, and even if you don't know you might be going to college this fall, community college, you should still apply before that September 2nd deadline. You don't want to count yourself out. For my seniors who are class of 2024, so those of you who are graduating next year, you'll be able to apply for financial aid later this fall. I can tell you from experience that millions of dollars are left on the table because students don't apply. Do not let that be you. Do not count yourself out. Like I said before, even if you don't think you're eligible, even if you think it's too difficult, please still apply. I want to cover a couple more benefits of attending community college. There are dual enrollment opportunities. What that means is, as high school students, you can start taking college classes now. And they are free for most students, and it helps you get started on your college career. Lots of benefits to dual enrollment. You save money, you save time, you get to get familiar with a college campus before you become a full-time student. Some college class units can be applied towards your high school diploma as well as your college degree. Dual enrollment classes help you train early for jobs. So if you want more information about dual enrollment, you should talk to your high school counselor as soon as possible. Another thing about the California community colleges is career education, right? California Colleges offers more than 200 career education programs that offer hands-on job training. Our goal is to connect students with jobs and careers that they want that pay well. Our economy depends on having a large workforce, and the California community colleges educate the largest number of people in our state. It's a continual thing. We have to continually train people with the skills and knowledge that are needed by local employers. At the California community colleges, we are meeting those employers' needs. We are preparing students to be work ready, world ready, and ready for the future of work. And most importantly, we're providing the opportunity for students to engage and thrive in the digital economy and e-commerce. All of our work, everything we do at the California community colleges is guided by our vision for success. And what that is it means that we aim to ensure that students from all backgrounds succeed in reaching their educational goals and improve the lives of their families while directly helping their communities. It's enough talk for me, right? I want to hear from our student now. So I want to introduce Jared Barnes. Jared Barnes, he's a student panel member of the Black and African American Advisory Panel of the California Community Colleges. He attended Chaffey College and is now at the University of La Verne in Southern California. Jared, I want to turn it over to you tonight.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
We sure can.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm Jared. A little bit about me. Coming up, it wasn't really that easy. My family and I, we had to move around a lot. We faced a lot of adversities when it comes to like finances and the stuff that was going on at home. My mother was actually really sick, so I spent the majority of my childhood taking care of her. And after she had passed away, we moved down to Southern California from Sacramento, and that's where I finished out high school. Attending college was always a thought, but it didn't really seem feasible, you know, just because of the way things were. Did not know how higher education worked. Sometimes I felt like I wasn't even going to graduate high school, but I did graduate. And right after high school, I actually had to work with work to help pay bills around the house and everything. And after 3 years, it was about 3 years, I was just working retail jobs. I was losing my mind. I was feeling so stuck. And I really know that I needed to do something else. And that something else was getting back into school and playing basketball again. Playing basketball helped me get through a lot of stuff. When I made that decision, I ended up attending Chaffey College in Rancho Cucamonga. And that was really where I began to find my stride and discover who I am in life. During my time at Chaffey, I was a full-time student. I was an athlete. I played basketball, and I was still working about 20 hours a week or so. But it wasn't easy during my time at Chafee. Unfortunately, you know how it is in California, stuff is still really, really expensive. And we lost the places we were living at several times. And I had to stay in my car for months at a time, had to couch hop my friends' houses. So things like going to class, going to practice, going to work, it was extremely difficult considering everything that was going on. But the things that did save me during this time was my school's food pantry and the financial aid. The Panther Care program at Chafee College helps students out with food insecurities, housing insecurities, rental assistance, emergency grant funds, things like that. And before, I was actually paying for my classes out of my pocket, and nobody ever told me that I needed to apply for financial aid or how important it was. And it was actually the head of the Panther Care program, Albert, that helped me get signed up for financial aid and helped me do everything with it. And after that, it really kept all the money I needed in my pocket. It helped me get by. I would not have been able to get by without financial aid. Not only did it help me pay for my classes, all my books, all my supplies and everything, but everything outside of class, like the gas that I needed during that time, all my bills, like my phone bill, like it helped me out with everything I needed to get by. And without financial aid and without that Panther Care program, I would not have had money in my pocket or food, and I would not have succeeded at Chafee. Thank God, though, after Chafee, I graduated with 2 degrees, and I was able to transfer to University of Laverne. And right now, I'm on track to graduate in 2024 with my undergrad in kinesiology, and hopefully, I can get to go to grad school after. I'm still thinking about that. So, yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Jared. That is, I mean, I'm so happy you were here to tell your story. And it demonstrates a belief we have at the Chancellor's Office about supporting unconditional belonging for every single student that steps foot on one of our campuses. We are attending to students' health and mental health needs, support networks, and financial stability. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight, how we can really help support the financial stability of our students. So, but before I introduce, or before we start our Cash for College workshop, I want to remind everybody that if you haven't entered to win, click on the link. You can use this QR code. That link is still in the chat, and we can put it in there again for you because we will be closing the raffle shortly. Remember, you have to be there at the end in order to win. But I do know that we have some people who have not entered yet. So please, you got about another 15, 20 minutes in order to do so. So right now, we're going to get into the meat of things. We're going to really talk about financial aid and how to apply for it. So our next presenter is Adrian Slade. He's a training analyst at the California Student Aid Commission, and he's going to walk us through how to apply for financial aid. Adrian?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me loud and clear?
We can, yep.
All right. So yes, my name is Adrian Slade. I am a trainer here at the California Student Aid Commission. Also, you may have heard of us as CSAC, or sometimes known as the Cal Grant people. So yes, this evening, I'm going to go ahead and go over some information regarding how to fill out the applications and the different aid that is available to help you pay to go to college. So I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation. And while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera because I want to make sure that you guys will just be able to really pay attention to the information that I'm going to be going over with you. All right. So let's go ahead and, get this started so we can help you understand, again, what is available and secure the funds to help pay for your education. So just as a reminder, if you have any questions while we're going through this, please use the question and answer box. I have two of my colleagues with me from the commission that will be able to answer any and all of your questions. So the goals for today is we want you to come away with more knowledge regarding the different aid that is available. But again, to get that aid, you need to complete one of the two applications, the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, or the California DREAM Act application. We're also going to review sections of the application that we, through our experience, know that are somewhat difficult or may be confusing to applicants, and also, again, get your questions answered. So, like I said, to start this process of obtaining this aid, you need to submit one of two applications, and that is either the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act application. And as you can see, these are the landing pages for those applications. So for the FAFSA, this is for individuals that are either U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents, and certain individuals with designations like refugees, those that have been granted asylum, or are T visa holders. But if you are not, there is a second application that is called the California DREAM Act application. And there are four cohorts of students that can complete this application. And those include undocumented students. And again, you can or do not need a DACA Social Security, people with TPS or temporary protective status, and U visa holders are eligible to submit the California DREAM Act application. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about the income information that both applications will be asking you for. So you may be wondering, which tax information does the student and parent, if the student is a deemed to be dependent, that they will need to enter into those applications? And that is the tax information from 2 years prior, or sometimes known as prior year. So if you're for the current application, the 23-24 application, that application will be using the tax information from the tax year of 2021. Now, this was done in an effort to ensure that the income information, because again, we are using that information from the taxes, are completed. And there is no guesstimation that is needed, because prior to this, you know, when the application opens, sometimes people have not yet completed that current tax year. So again, this is the reason why we use the information from 2 years prior on the tax information. So the big question is, how much money can I get to help me go to school? And that is a great question. So this is an example of how much a student may be eligible to receive. So what occurs is we take the cost of attendance of the school that you will be attending, and then we subtract what is called the EFC. And this is a number that is generated once you have your financial application. And in this case, you can see the cost of attendance is $40,000. The EFC generated for this student was $16,000, which means this student can be paid, or what is known as unmet need, of $24,000. And this is, again, the maximum amount of money that you can get, that you can apply towards such things as tuition, fees, books, living cost, transportation, parking passes, whatever you need for your education goals. So there are, we're going to talk about two different sources of aid. This first one is the aid that is available for those that file the FAFSA, and this is federal aid. And the first one that is most utilized is the Pell Grant. And this, as you can see, you can be awarded up to $895 for the current academic year. And you have up to 6 full-time years of utilizing this program. Then we have the FSEOG, or Federal Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant. And this is another grant for undergrad students with exceptional financial need. It is a program that is administered directly by the financial aid office of participating schools. So students are going to want to check with their school site to see if they participate and offer this grant. Another one that whenever I'm helping students fill out their application that I always say check yes is work study. And it is, again, something very valuable as it allows you to receive funds for work on traditionally the campus, where you will be able to get money to apply towards your education. With work study, the federal government will pay 70% of the work study students' wages. And then we do have the direct subsidized, unsubsidized, and direct plus loans. But hopefully, as you will see that when we go through this presentation, that you'll be able to utilize the grant, because the grant money is the money that you do not have to pay back, while the loans, again, you will have to pay back once you graduate. But what we're going to talk about next is state aid, which my commission administers. When it comes to our state aid, there is no separate application that you will need to complete, with the exception if you are a former foster youth and may qualify for the program called Chafee for Foster Youth Award. All you need to do is complete the FAFSA, or California Dream Act application, and you will be considered for state aid. Now, if you are planning on attending a private or UC or CSU campus, you will want to make sure that you complete your applications before the March 2nd state priority deadline. But if you plan to attend a California community college, deadline is September 2nd. With state aid, it can only be used within California, with the only program that we administer, the Chafee Grant for Foster Youth, being the only program where those monies can be taken outside of California. Now, our biggest program is our Cal Grant program. And there are 3 types of Cal Grants, A, B, and C. And as you can see on this slide, you can see the maximum amounts for each Cal Grant depending on which school type that you will attend. Now, if you get a Cal Grant A, as you can see, and attend a community college, that grant will be put on reserve until you transfer to a 4-year institution. We have our Cal Grant B, and this program will pay at the community college, as you can see, $1,648. And then we have our Cal Grant C, which is for individuals that are looking to go into vocational, technical, or occupational programs. Now, students receiving an award may remain eligible to receive their award after they transfer from a community college to a UC or CSU. Now, a student that will be transferring from a community college to a private would need to reapply through our program called the Transfer Entitlement Program. Now, to qualify, you must meet the income and asset ceilings. And as you can see on the left-hand side, for the 23-24 years, these are the income and asset ceilings for the Cal Grant program. I also want to talk about a few of our smaller specialized programs. And for our DREAM Act students, we have our DREAM Act Service Incentive Grant, which will allow those applicants to volunteer and turn volunteer hours into actual funds and money to apply to their education. We also have an Access Award for students with dependents. And what this program does is if you have a dependent under the age of 18, that you provide more than 50% of their support, will accelerate that $1,648 figure up to $6,000. We also have our Law Enforcement Personnel Dependence Grant, and this is a program for spouses and dependents of anyone that was in law enforcement, correctional, or firefighting that have been either 100% disabled or lost their lives in the line of duty, and will provide them with a grant equal to the Cal Grant. We also have our California Military Department GI Bill Award, and this is set up for individuals that are in the California National Guard, and if eligible, also will provide a grant that is equal to a Cal Grant. And then a new program is our Golden State Education and Training Grant Program, and this program works with individuals that lost their job during the pandemic and want to go back into college to retool and gain additional skills to be able to obtain work after obtaining those new skills. And this program will give a one-time $2,500 grant to eligible participants. And then let's go ahead and take a look on the right-hand side. If you are not eligible for the Cal Grant program because of income, but will be attending a UC or CSU, you can be eligible for the Middle Class Scholarship Program, as it does have a higher income and asset. As you can see, the current year, that cap is at $217,000. And with this, the awards are determined based off the cost of attendance, and also takes into consideration any other aid that you may receive. And it will then give you a award that, again, you will be able to utilize to, again, continue your education. Another program is the California College Promise Grant. Now, I'm going to show my age here. I still remember it. They rebranded the name, but when I was attending community college, it was known as the BOG waiver. But it works in the same way. It is for students at the California Community College, and if eligible, will waive the enrollment fees, which at this time are $46 per unit, and also a portion of your parking permit fee. So before we begin, I want to point out a few things that you want to keep track of while you're filling out the application. First is, please, you must use your full legal name as it appears on your legal documents like driver's license, birth certificate, and your social security card. Unfortunately, you cannot use a nickname. You have to use your full legal name. Second, when you create the username and passwords for the applications, you want to keep track of those. Also, use a personal email, and you want to ensure you are using an email that you will have access to and that you will check on a regular basis. And last but not least, you want to keep track of any quick questions or answers that you create, because if you do need to reset your password to get back into your application, you will need to answer these. And again, by keeping track of those, if you need to reset, again, that should be a quick and painless process. But I really want to talk about, again, the addresses and emails, because it is very important. So when it comes to a physical address, you want to use an address where you can receive correspondence and that the mail will be checked on a regular basis. And like I was just saying, as for email, we want you to use a personal email that you have access to, because we have seen where students will use their school account, especially like our senior graduating students. And what we have seen is that once they have graduated from the high school, that they either get blocked from that email or it is completely deactivated. And that's not a good thing, because when communications come from, say, us, the commission, or your school's financial aid office, or admissions and records, whomever it may be, you will not be able to access those. So a tip that I always give to students when I'm helping them complete applications is to create a personal email that is solely dedicated for all communications for financial aid and school communications. All right. Before we jump into the meat and potatoes of the application, I want to, again, let you guys know, again, there is a raffle going on and there are some great prizes, but you have to enter and also be present at the end of the presentation. So please use your phone or your tablet's camera, click on that QR code and enter. Now, it is 5:38 and the drawing will close in 2 minutes. So if you haven't already done this, please go ahead and do this. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the FAFSA. And there have been some big changes over last year and this upcoming year because of the FAFSA Simplification Act. Now, the changes that were implemented this year, the 23-24 year, is first, incarcerated students and students with drug-related convictions may now qualify for Pell Grant. Also, any student whose school was closed or defrauded them may have lifetime Pell eligibility restored to them. And also the repeal of what's known as the 150% direct subsidized loan lifetime limit. And what this means is, in the past, you were able to borrow, a subsidized loan for 150% of whatever degree program that you are in. So for example, if you had you're in a 4-year bachelor program, you could borrow up to 6 years. Or if you were doing a 2-year associate, you would be able to borrow up to 3 years, but that has been removed. Now, this coming academic year, the 24-25 academic year, there are also some big changes coming. The biggest is the number of questions that the application currently has, which is 108, will be reduced to 36. And part of the reason is there is now an improved platform for the transfer of the IRS data information into your FAFSA. And I will say, this is great because again, it will cut a lot of time off. And one other thing that I have seen it done in the past and will carry forward is it reduces the chance that your school will ask you to verify certain information on your financial application. And then the third one that I want to talk about quickly is in the past, well, again, it's still with our 23-24, but next year going forward, 24-25, students that have undocumented parents, their parents now will be able to apply for an FSAID and electronically sign the student's application. And we'll take a look at this in just a few slides because again, currently with 23-24 and previous years, undocumented parents had to do a paper signature form, and that sometimes could slow down the processing of that student's financial application. But moving forward, that will be a thing of the past. So this is the landing page for the FAFSA. And from here, you can do such things as start your first FAFSA. Or you can pick up from a safe point, like say, oh, I did part of the application, I had to do something, you save the application, you can come back and finish the application and submit it for processing. Another thing that you can do is go ahead and make any updates. Maybe some information you put on there was maybe estimated. Now you do have the hard figures. You can go back and make any necessary updates, or maybe you had more than 10 schools that you were interested in. After the application has processed, you can go back in, remove the first 10 and add up to 10 more. And also, this is where you will always come in subsequent years to fill out your renewal FAFSA, because you will every year that you are in school and wanting the financial aid, you need to complete the new FAFSA, or we call it renewing. So the FSAID is what I like to call your digital signature that you will use to sign your application. This site does, and I'm just pointing it out, does discourage using certain email domains. And as you can see, the .edus and .k12s, the .pvts, .tec, or cc. So again, one more reason to, again, create a personal email for all things financial aid and school. So again, like I was saying, in the coming years, this will not be an issue, but for the current 23-24, if your parents do not have a social security number, yes, you can fill it out, but they will not be able to sign the application and they will have to do the paper signature page. But when the FAFSA is asking about your parent social, do not leave it blank. You will just use all zeros. So again, just for this academic year, again, if your parents do not have a social security number, they will have to do the paper signature page. At the end of the FAFSA application, where they ask for the parent's FSA ID, you would then select other options to sign, and then it will take you to the parent signature page where you will then print it out and then mail it to the address on that form. And this is what that looks like. So when you other options, print signature page, it will print as you see. And then at the very bottom, again, will be the PO box where you will want to send that signature page. As I was saying earlier in the presentation, there are two applications and you will fill one or the other. So we're going to talk about the second application that we have here in California for the students that are not eligible to complete a FAFSA. And that is the California Dream Act application, or sometimes known as the CADA. And again, this application is for qualified, undocumented, and non-resident students, and it enables this student population to receive certain types of financial aid in the state of California. So again, it is going to allow students to receive things like the Cal Grant, Middle Class Scholarship, the Chafee Grant for foster youth, UC grants, CSU grants, the community college grants, other private university scholarships, and EOP or EOPS. Now, this application is administered by the California Student Aid Commission. Now, in this section, which is the student section, and this is the very, very first part, the registration, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that we use your full legal name just as it appears on your legal documents. And again, we want to make sure that you also provide a correct address, a personal email address, and also, like we said it earlier, but I'm saying it again because it is very important that you write down your user ID, passwords, and the answers to your security questions, because your username, password will also become the username and password to log in to the Commission's student portal web grants for students. Now, I did talk about this briefly, but when it comes to school selection, you can put up to 10 schools on your application. Now, one thing I want to point out is if you're going or you're looking at going to a UC or CSU, you have to list each campus individually. There is no one size fits all for them. You have to list each campus individually. But you don't have to worry, because what if I'm looking at all the UCs and all the CSUs and community college? I have 35 schools I'm looking at. Again, you can put 10 schools, let the application process. Once it's processed, you go back into the application, remove the first 10, put the next 10, and so on and so forth until you have listed every school that you have interest in attending. Now, if your parents live in another country and you are a dependent student, you will need to report their income and assets. But because it will be a foreign income, you will have to convert that income into US dollars. Now, if it is not possible to get this information, usually because you do not have contact with the parents, you will still need to fill out the application as much as you can. And then at the end, you will then need to contact the college financial aid office as soon as possible, because in this situation, they will be able, because it will still be incomplete, but what they will be able to provide you with is assistance in what they call a professional judgment, or sometimes known as special circumstance. And they may be able to, again, help you in getting that application completed. And that brings me to, again, dependency, which is students are traditionally dependent students until they are 24. But in these situations, as you see on the screen, are you married? Are you working towards a master's or doctorate's degree? Military veteran? Have children or dependent that you provide more than half of their support? Foster youth? An emancipated minor? Under legal guardianship? Or are considered homeless and unaccompanied? If you say yes to any of these questions, even if you are under the age of 24, you will be considered an independent student and will not have to provide parent information. But if you do answer yes to most of these, there is a great chance that you will have to provide verification of your situation to your college financial aid office. Now, there is the big question, whose parent information needs to be placed on the application. And I love this, this diagram because it really breaks down whose information needs to be placed on there. So it asks questions such as, are your parents married to each other? If yes, both parents' information. If no, the next question, do they live together? If they live together, then again, both parents' information. If not, it moves to the next question. Did you live with one parent more than the other over the past 12 months? Whomever you had the majority custody, or I won't say custody, but you lived with more, their information will be used. And as you can see, then it will even, sometimes they'll say, well, it was 50-50. Then who provided the most financial support? And in some situations where the parents are divorced, but one parent, the parent that again says, hey, I provided more financial support, but I also remarried, then that then takes us into a unique, or not, I won't say unique, but a situation where that biological parent and the new step parent information will be required. And this is just a little bit, but one thing we get a lot of are these my, parents, a widowed step parents, aunts or uncles, foster parents, grandparents, an older brother or sister, or legal guardians? And the answer is no. It will always be your biological parents unless you have been legally adopted. So the income and asset questions, there are two questions. Some are as of today, and some are like I was saying with the taxes, 2 years prior. So income information, that's the 2 years prior. And again, if you're filling out the FAFSA, I highly recommend using the IRS data retrieval tool, because again, it automatically imports that information into the application and really cuts down on the number of questions that you have to answer, and also cuts down the chances of your financial aid office asking for verifications. But the as of today income information is money in checking and savings accounts. And again, that question is asking, as of today, what monies are in these two accounts? And one thing we always, or I won't say always, but I've heard it a fair amount of time is my home an asset? And the answer is the home that you live in is not an asset. And the value also of retirement accounts are not an asset. But if you, the parent does have, say, a second home that they are renting, that home would be considered an asset. Another question that sometimes can be, a little confusing is household size and number in college. The household size is yourself, even if, again, you are not living with your parents, any other children that your parents provide more than 50% of their support, even if they do not live in the parent's home, and any other people that receive more than half of their support from your parents. But in this case, those individuals must live with the parents. When it comes to number in college, it is yourself and any other family member that is included in the household size that is enrolled at least half time in a program, again, leading to towards a college degree or certificate. Now, I did touch on this just briefly when we were talking about not being able to complete the application because you do not have contact with your parents to get their financial information. And this is, again, what is called special circumstance, or again, sometimes known as a professional judgment, because financial aid administrators do have the authority to adjust the information on the FAFSA to account for any unusual circumstances. And some of those can be things like the loss of a job or income, something that we financial aid officers are probably seeing a lot over the last few years because of the pandemic, divorce or death in the family, unexpected, medical expenses, adverse home situations, again, the dependency status issue, loss of home due to fire or disaster, and any other, unusual circumstance can be, again, brought up to your financial aid officer. And this can, again, help by making adjustments on your application. So some of the most common mistakes that we have seen is students filling out the incorrect academic year application, because there are times where there are two application years open at the same time. But if you realize that you have completed the incorrect academic year, no sweat. If it's early in the process, you could just go ahead and fill out the other, or you can also speak with your financial aid officer because it can be remedied. Applications submitted by the September 2nd deadline, not using their full legal name, missing a mandatory question. The application was not signed by a parent, because without it being signed, the application will not process. Applications that were saved, but the student did not submit it, because you need to submit it for it to be processed. Again, the requiring of the parent signature page for those students that have parents that are undocumented, and other unresolved application issues. All right, I want to, before I let you guys go, I want to talk to you quickly about the programs that we have for our foster youth. First is our Chafee Grant, and this program can pay up to an additional $5,000 annually to help the foster youth that are between the, or well, you were in foster youth between the ages of 16 and 18 for at least one day. And if so, again, can provide you with an additional $5,000 and can be utilized for up to 5 years as long as you have not turned 25 yet. With this with this program, again, it does require a one-time additional application, which is the Chafee Grant application. And because this program is partially funded by federal funds, this is the one program that we administer that, again, can be taken outside of California. Also, with our foster youth, they can also, when it comes to the access portion of a Cal Grant, that $1,648, if they are a foster youth, again, just like our students with dependents, can see a actual award increase up to $6,000. Another thing with our Chafee Grant program is this program is not bound to what is called traditional financial aid constraints. And again, because of that and the funding structure, again, this is the program that can, again, be taken out of California to a qualified out-of-state college. And also, this monies can be used for things like rent, housing, transportation, childcare, food, laptops, and also can be used for postgraduate studies. Also, with the Chafee Grant program, you do not need to meet the March 2nd deadline. You have until August to apply, provide a GPA, graduate from a high school, have a social security number, be clear of any default or overpayments, or what's called the meet ability to benefit requirement. Now, the Chafee Grant process, the application is very simple. Again, FAFSA, and again, or FAFSA Dream Act annually, the one-time Chafee application, and then the third here, what's called the CDSS foster youth status. That is something that we actually, we have a data sharing agreement with the CDSS where we can verify the foster youth status. But there are some times where that electronic verification doesn't happen, but you will be able to know that you need to do this by logging on to your Web Grants for Students account, and it will let you know that this has not yet been completed. And then it will allow you to print out a form that you will fill out and then send to your local foster youth liaisons, and then they will be able to verify that, send it to us, so you can then be processed and awarded. Another new program is aimed at our elementary and kids, and also our students, and it's called the Cal Kids. And with this, it can provide you up to an additional $1,500 in free money for those that are eligible low-income public school students. So if you want to get more information regarding this program and see if you are eligible, go ahead, log on to their website, calkids.org. And I took a look at it today. Very simple. You enter some information and it will tell you if you are eligible. All right, we are coming to the end. We are almost there. So I want to just leave you with some tips and resources. So first thing, complete your application as soon as possible. Now, October 1 is the starting of the application. And I always say it is most beneficial to do it as soon and as close to that October 1st. But again, don't fret, because again, if you are attending a community college, you have till the September 2nd deadline to apply. Always apply for financial aid, regardless of income, because you never know. And trust me, I've helped students that thought they were not eligible, and at the end found that they were. I talked about it briefly, but again, create a Web Grants for Students account after you have completed your financial aid application. This is where you will then be able to track the status of us processing you for the different awards that we do administer. Always check your email again on a regular basis. If you need help, do not, pause or be afraid to ask for help. Contact your college financial aid office, or if you need, you can also contact one of my colleagues at the commission, and we will be there to help you. And also let your friends know about the Cash for College program, because this is where you can get information regarding, how to fill out these applications and the different financial aid opportunities that are out there for you. If you need, again, additional information, I always say just go to our main website, csac.ca.gov. There is lots of great information on our website, and also, again, has our contact information. So if you want, you can give us a call, and we are there to help you. And this is our QR code that will link you to our different social medias. We have great content on there for you, and stuff that you can also, again, share with your friends to, again, let them know about these golden opportunities. So that does bring me to the end of my presentation, and I'm so glad that everyone took their time out today, this evening, to come and get this great information. And thank you, Gina Brown, for inviting me to share, again, this information with the audience today.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Okay. There are two things I need everyone to remember. Adrian gave us a lot of valuable information, and I don't expect you to remember it all. Two things I need you to remember, though. Okay, number one is apply no matter what, even if you do not think you're eligible. And number two, the FAFSA is free, and so is the California DREAM Act application. You should never pay anyone to help you complete or submit the FAFSA application or the financial aid application. So those are the two things I need you to remember. I lied. There's a third thing. You need to remember the I Can Go to College website, because that is where you can find assistance to help you either complete the financial aid application or help you with any financial aid questions that you have. So again, thank you so much, Adrian. We really, really appreciate it. I want to thank Jared, the student who came on and told us about his experience at California community colleges and the support he received and how financial aid helped him. I want to give a special thanks to Adrian Slade and his team at the California Student Aid Commission for presenting tonight's Cash for College workshop. In the chat, there are links and tools, links to tools and resources that you can use today, including a direct link to the I Can Go to College.com website. Do not forget that website. It's got lots of information about financial aid, community colleges, where to get help. You can submit questions there. You can see information about the majors that community colleges offer. There's a Black Student Success page, scholarships for Black students, campus organization, you name it, it's going to be on that website. Lastly, before we go, I want to invite you to join us again tomorrow at 5 o'clock for the last in a series of workshops titled Financial Intelligence. You can register using the QR code on the screen. I'm going to check before we go and see if there's any unanswered questions. Let's see, it looks like they were all answered. Let me check, just verifying, you know, it looks like they were all answered in the chat. So if you missed those, you can look on the Q&A really quickly. But again, it's so important that you apply for financial aid. Do not sell yourself short. Do not tell yourself no. Put yourself in the running, set yourself up for success, and apply for financial aid. Unfortunately, no one is going to do it for you, but there are plenty of people who will help you. So that's all we have tonight. I want to thank you all for joining us and have a good night.